Hey, Sweetpotato Slim here, and I want to share a thought with you that really helped take my playing to the next level, helped open up the doors to improvisation for me. And if you've been playing a long time, you're on your journey, you've been learning, you've been putting a lot of effort into your scales, your patterns, trying to learn a bunch of licks, and then now you're at a stage where you want to start soloing, you want to start improvising, and you got this backtrack. It's all wide open canvas, but you're just stuck because you just can't get there. Maybe this thought will help unlock the doors to some more improvisation. And for me, it's really simple. You just got to get out of your own way. You got to stop thinking, and you just got to start feeling. And I put it this way: stop trying so hard to play the notes that have already been played, and start seeking out notes that are just waiting to be played, the notes that are just out there. One thing that I've learned, in improvising and jamming and playing for the last 30 plus years, is that there's just this infinite river of licks, of notes, of combination of things just waiting to be played. And all it takes is getting to that source, getting into that free flow, and tapping in. And when you tap in and you're not thinking, and there's no barriers between you and this source, these notes just come, and these licks, they just come out. And when that happens, it's called like when the music hits. And Bob Marley had a great lyric: one great thing about music is when it hits, you feel no pain. And that's absolutely true. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to share this last video that I posted, jamming to a funky groove that makes me happy. It was a little backtrack that I put up, and I just improvised and just recorded playing some licks over that. And the reason why I want to share this video is because it's a really good example of that dynamic, this back and forth that sometimes that we go through as guitar players when we're jamming and improvising. It's great if you can be tapped into this source the entire time, but the reality is while you're playing, your thoughts are coming up. You may hit a wrong note, you may miss a hook or miss something that you wanted to do, or you start thinking or start being more conscious of your playing, and all of a sudden that thought process, that thinking, pulls you away from the source, and your playing is a little mindless, and it's not really going anywhere, and it's this feeling, you're probably stuck in it now, but it happens. And when you realize that, you have to be able to flick a switch and tap back into that source. But this video, I think, had some really good examples of when the music hits, but also this back and forth of when I miss something, or something happens, and I'm in my head and I'm not there, and then all of a sudden I flick the switch and you can visibly see something here. So first thing I want to talk about is when the music hits, and there's a good example here. It's around 2:58, so I'm going to come here about 2:54, and we'll start playing it here. So did you see that little eye move there? So we'll come back here 2:55, and watch it. I'm going like, and when I hit that, you'll see my eyelid move up. And this is really just an example. I wasn't thinking about this lick, this note, wasn't thinking about anything. It just kind of came out, and you can see my reaction. It's just the music hits. There you go. So that's just feeling the groove and being in the moment. And if we go a little bit in front of that, you'll see that I actually kind of got pulled out of it a little bit, because I was playing up here somewhere, and I hit the wrong note, and you can just see it was just kind of a quick recovery, but yeah. Watch. So hit the wrong note. See in my face right here. That was a little off, but I just tapped back in. So there's actually a better example of me kind of missing something and totally getting in my head and then getting out of it. So it's up here in like the 4-minute mark. About 4:10, and what happened was there's this little hook in this thing that I wrote, and I I wanted to hit that every time, to kind of just bring some foundation back into the jam, and it was kind of cool, and I liked that little lick. But I ended up missing it at the 410 mark, and what ended up happening, I kind of just got in my head and started thinking like, but I realized it, a couple notes in, and you'll see I just kind of close my eyes, put my head back, and I pull off a lick that honestly wasn't thinking about, and I think if I were thinking about it, wouldn't be able to play it again. Certainly not the same way. So watch it here. Watch how I miss the hook, and how I recover. So I missed the hook, and look at the facial expressions. They're like little thinking too much, and then out. So I was thinking and realized it, and then just put my head back. And that's a great example there. If I like that lick, but to sit there and try to dissect it and play it again, to me it's trying to play notes that have already been played, and that served its purpose right there in that moment. I can play something very similar in a different moment, or maybe the same song in a different time, but it just wouldn't feel the same if I tried to play that note again. And so that's a different mindset when you're getting into improvisation and playing. And I know when you're first starting out, you're spending so much time, so much effort into thinking about my patterns and my intervals and chord progressions, and playing this note over this chord progression and all this. I mean, I look up improvisation and I get all these tips that are all just about thoughts. And the one thing I don't see a whole lot of out there is you just stop thinking. Stop thinking, stop trying so hard to play notes that have already been played, and instead learn how to tap in to this source. Because when you do, man, you can just keep playing, and you can keep playing. And it takes time. One thing I always like to say is you have to know how to get to the river before you can have a picnic. And that's certainly true here, is you have to know how to get to the source, how to get out of your own way, how to tap in. And in the beginning, when you're thinking and you're just starting out, the first thing is you just play. And I played for hours to backtracks that I wrote. I just played and recorded myself, and I just waited. I was looking for these notes to come out, and eventually I found one or two notes, and that's great. Just get to that source, and then once you learn how to get to that source, you learn how to get there again, and then you get there a third time, and you learn how to stay a little bit longer and let it be wider, to the point where you could do an extended set, and you're in that free flow, in that zone, tapped in, but you're going to go back and forth. But first, just learn how to get there, and once you get there, we can make it better. But if you like this, if this was helpful for you, I hope it helps unlock some things. But definitely subscribe to my channel. Keep an eye out. I got a lot of other things planned, but I'm just going to come out here and we're just going to jam out in the end. And thank you all for watching.